Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. We're back, obviously, the dream team again from the extra show back in the day. We've come back for a one-off for the main show, obviously, in the absence of Jerry, who's still cleaning his living room after the defeat against Chelsea. But yeah, we're going to talk about Tom Davies now because he's struggling at the moment. Obviously, quite a few players are struggling at the moment, but he didn't have his best game against Chelsea. And his progression seems to have stalled a little bit, to be honest. Obviously, he's in a new system. Sorry.
A little bit. It's stalled a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty kindly. To like ground to a halt quite abruptly. But now he's kind of... The promise that we were looking at from him hasn't really come through. And people are getting quite impatient because he's just not the player we thought he could be, really. And obviously another difficult performance against Chelsea kind of accentuates that. Obviously he's been misused a little bit, I think, positionally. Not misused, but experimented with. Obviously that's what Ancelotti's come to do. No one really knew what Tom Davies was for quite a while. So Ancelotti's used him in central midfield. He's put him on the wing a couple of times as well. We say wing, it's not really the wing under Ancelotti. It's kind of a wide midfield role than a wide winger, but kind of drifting a little bit. So that's why Ancelotti wanted to see him try that in that position. But before we get into it, I'll read out some stats from Tom Davies recently, and they're not pretty. Obviously, 21 appearances in the Premier League this season, just the one goal. Last season, there was 16 Premier League appearances, no goals, no assists. Obviously, no assists this season as well. Is the season where he played the most was 2018 when he played 33 times in the league, and still then he only got the 2 goals and the 1 assist. So his best season so far was quite early on, 2016-17, when he had 2 goals and 3 assists. But yeah, as you say, his progress since then has stalled quite a lot. And that was epitomised in this Chelsea performance. I'll get his stats up from that Chelsea game at the weekend. Obviously started in central midfield and was brought off after just under an hour. It's not great. He only had 30 touches during his 58 minutes on the pitch. 20 accurate passes with an 80% accuracy. Didn't do much at all. Obviously misplaced 10 passes. Lost the ball 7 times. Won 1 ground duel out of 5. And 1 aerial duel out of 2. And it's not pretty reading, to be honest. It's pretty poor. So what was that? Just a bad performance from Tom Davies? Do you think he's better than that, or was that just typical Tom Davies for you?
I think he's better than that, but not by much, really. Honestly, Davies, he's got no consistency, and it's hard to know kind of what exactly his level is because he's been so up and down. But I remember talking about Davies with Jerry and my brother, doing a video like this about a year and a half ago, early last season, where basically I said that I really wanted him to succeed, but I wasn't seeing enough to give me any faith, and that I was really losing patience. And I think supporters had every right to start criticising him. And it's 18 months later, and I think absolutely nothing's changed. I don't think he's developed 1 iota, and he had a relative amount of stability in that time. I know Ancelotti's come in recently, but he was working with Silva for well over a year, and I didn't see any improvement at all, even when he was getting little runs in the side. The thing about Davies is, for me, is I don't know what he is, and I don't know. I think most of Etonians ask that. What type of midfielder is he? Is he a sitter? Is he a runner? Does he have like a free role behind the striker? Does he come out wide to collect the ball? Does he just sit deep and tackle people? Is he one of these players like Gay, where he's just absolutely everywhere? I don't know what he is, and I don't know more importantly, I don't know what he wants to be, type thing. Obviously, you think it's commendable when a player just agrees to play wherever he's put by his manager and just does whatever the job's expected of him. But at what point is the lad going to say to himself, rather than a coach, no, hang on, I'm this type of player. This is what I'm good at. This is what I should be doing. This is what I should be getting match experience doing, rather than just getting put here, there, and everywhere. As you said, he's been experimented with, and my sympathy's limited because he's not the only player that's happened to. He's not the only player who's a victim of circumstance. Holgate's had a lot of instability since he first broke into the team. He had that little run under Silva for a bit, then he had a few bad performances, and then Silva basically just dropped him completely and then stopped using him, sent him out on loan in January. So, and that was the last we heard of Holgate for a long time until he's come back into form this season when Ferguson started using him. Other players as well. I know it's another player I don't rate, but Michael Keane's had a lot of messing about as well, and even Michael Keane had that long run of games where he did quite well last season. But Davies, I can't think of it all the time. How long's he been in the team now? Well, 3 years, roughly.
Yeah, at least probably a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, he's played close to 100 first-team games. I honestly can't think of the last time he made a really positive impact on a game, whether it was him starting, whether it was him coming off the bench. I can't think of a time where I came away thinking, you know what, Davies really helped us there. If Davies wasn't on the pitch, we wouldn't have got that result there. I don't think he affects anything, and he's too weak as well. He gets bullied by players who should not be bullying him, and as I said, close to 100 games, and it doesn't look like he's learned one thing. And at some point, you've got to stop blaming the coaches for that and blaming what's going on at the club. If you go to school and you learn absolutely nothing, you can't just keep saying the teachers are shit. At one point are you just thick and you can't take anything in? And I'm not saying that's essentially what's happened with Davies, but the point that I'm trying to make is you can't just keep saying, "Oh, it's not fair. He's not been coached. The club's too unstable. He hasn't been used properly." At some point, he's going to have to roll his sleeves up and say, "I know I'm in a bad situation here, but I'm going to make people notice me. I'm going to make the best of it, and I'm going to impress despite the adversity that I'm up against." And he's not done it. So, Tom Davies for me, I don't see it working out here, and I don't think anyone's got. If he was to go in the summer, I don't think anyone's got any right to complain because I've seen players get shipped out for playing better than he has. Tom Cleverley's the prime example. Tom Cleverley was a player who wasn't Scouse, didn't have a big loud personality that people seem to like, and was a similar player in the sense where you just think, kind of, all right, he's a central midfielder, but what does he actually do? What does he do apart from just take the ball and then pass it on quickly? Yeah. Nothing, really. Do you know what I mean? And look, was anyone upset when Cleverley got farmed out to Watford? No, everyone was like, not good enough. Good luck to him. See you later. What would be the difference if that happens with Davies? And if that happens with Davies, loads of people would come out and say, "Oh, he was forced out. It's not fair. He was a scapegoat. He was a boo boy." No, I'm sorry. Stop making excuses for him now. The lad's not performing, and he's not giving the club enough. And I wouldn't be shocked if he's run out of chances. And if he does stay at the club, then I think he considers himself very, very lucky.
Yeah. Do you think he needed? Obviously, we mentioned the Holgate as well. He did go out on loan last year to West Brom. Obviously, didn't play in the position that he wanted to play. He was more right back, sometimes right wing back. But do you think we missed a trick with Tom Davies in not sending him out on loan? I think he was kind of pigeonholed into positions sometimes when we had injuries in central midfield. But do you think if he would have went out on loan, do you think we missed a trick there? Do you think he should have done earlier in his career?
I think it would have helped him, but circumstances prevented it, didn't it? Because we weren't we didn't have as much depth in that position as in a year or two ago that we did at right back with Holgate. Holgate could go out on loan because we had Coleman and we had Kenny, so we didn't need a third right back, really, which is what most people considered Holgate to be at the time. People didn't think he was going to come centrally and be as great as he is. Whereas in the central midfield, we all knew Gay was going. Gomez, we didn't know if we were going to keep Gomez. We got him on loan, didn't we, on the last deadline day in the last summer, or the summer before rather. So, I don't really blame anyone at the club for not sending him out on loan. I do think it would have helped him, but I think if it were to happen now, is it probably too late in the day? Is it maybe better if all sides just shake hands and part ways? Because it seems to have helped Barkley, as much as we don't like him. Barkley, forget the circumstances and how it happened. Barkley just cut ties with Everton. Everton cut ties with Barkley. Barkley has got better since he went down to London, and he seems to have finally found a direction for his career to go in and found some consistency. Whereas if Barkley had just gone out on loan and then come back to Everton, would it really have changed anything? I'm not sure, and I think that would be the case with Davies. I don't think a loan at this point would really help Davies, especially if it was just somewhere like the Championship. I don't really think he'd learn much out of that. And even if people are saying, "Oh, we'll send him to Germany, he'll learn out in Germany," I don't think he'd get much out of that either. To be honest, because let's have it right, the 80% of the German league is pony. It is. It's a farmers' league, and he's not going to learn much by skinning a load of crap mediocre players who probably wouldn't get in most Premier League sides. So I think if Davies is to go out on loan and then come back to Everton, I'd want to loan him out to another Premier League club where he plays consistently, somewhere like a Watford or a Brighton or a Crystal Palace, if they would be willing to take him. I think that's the only type of loan that would help Tom Davies at this point. I think going to the Championship or going to Germany or going somewhere else, I think we'd just be wasting, all parties would just be wasting the time if we did that.
Yeah. If we were to sell him, like, obviously he's come through our academy, so we don't know what he'd be worth. Like, what do you think we'd be able to get for him, and what level could he go to? Because, to be honest, I can't see him getting into many Premier League sides. To be honest, I think he made a big name at Everton, and we all love him because he's a blue, because he's the personality he's got. He just goes at everything. I don't know what other sides in the Premier get in, to be honest, because he hasn't really discovered himself what he is, and no one else really has as well discovered what type of midfielder he is. I think he would struggle to get a move. So, like, what could we get? Like, what do you think his value is in today's market?
It's hard to know, isn't it? Because a player's only worth what someone's willing to pay for them. I think someone like Eddie Howe's got a bit of a weird fetish for unproven English players, hasn't he? Look at all the crap he buys off Liverpool. I think someone like him would probably give us a couple of million for him, or I don't know, maybe some other English manager like a Graham Potter. Whereas, if I don't see any manager like a tough as nails, old school type manager like a David Moyes or a Nigel Pearson or a Sean Dyche. I don't see one of them really fancying Davies and paying money for him. I think our best bet to sell Davies would be to some naive younger manager who probably looks at Davies and thinks he could get something out of him, like an Eddie Howe or a Graham Potter. And it just depends on how much those clubs have got to spend, which is probably not a lot, especially if they don't stay up. Like, I don't think Brighton or Bournemouth. I think it's very hard to envision them staying up. So I don't know. I mean, what would I be happy with, to answer the question? I think if we get offered anything upwards of 10 million, I think the club should just take it. I know 10 million isn't really much nowadays, but we did get him from the academy. He hasn't cost us an awful lot of money. I think any profit we can get is just worth having, to be honest.
So you definitely wouldn't keep him as a squad player like he has been kind of over the last few years, because we have needed those gaps filling in central midfield, and he has been someone to step in and do a job, whether it's a good job or not. He's filled in central midfield. And do you think we could do with keeping him as a squad player in that role?
Not for me, because just touching on what you said then, you said, oh, he's come in and he's done a job. If he's come in and done a bad job, then you might as well have not give the job to him in the first place. For me, personally, for all this, he comes in and he fills in. Yeah, but you could get loads of players who do that. I'd do a job if I was asked to. Doesn't mean I'd be good at it. Doesn't mean I'd be worth keeping around. As I said, I can't think of many times in the past 2 years where he's played a game and I've thought, you know what, Davies really impressed me there, or you know what, Davies really made a positive difference to that result. I just, as a squad player, I just don't think he's good enough, honestly. Other players are worse than him. There are players I'd rather rely on him than rely on certain other players who just don't give a toss. Never accuse Davies of that. I think he does genuinely care and he wants to do his best for the club. But if Everton want to get to where Everton are saying they want to get to, if we want to be a team that competes in Europe regularly and is challenging for things, then I think even your squad players have got to be of a certain level, and I don't think Davies personally is of that level. I'd love to be proven wrong. I'd love to just click my fingers and then he suddenly goes great, like Holgate has, because a lot of people didn't believe in Holgate, and look how it's turned around for him and Calvert-Lewin as well. But my patience is pretty much around to it at this point.
So massive shame, considering I remember obviously when he come on in that first season, and he obviously against Manchester City when he did that little heel turn around Yaya Toure and went on and scored that goal, which Lukaku nearly tapped in. But obviously show promises like that like just some things I've seen from him make me think this could be a player. And there was sometimes as well when I was trying to pigeonhole him into a certain type of player, and I thought maybe he could play. Obviously, the pressing in football has been quite popular in recent years. People have been trying to do a lot more. Obviously, the influence of German managers, such as the one across the park, has been quite influential in bringing pressing into the modern game. And I thought Davies could do that. But I'm not sure if he's good enough on the ball to like press resistant rather than just doing the pressing himself. So that was the role I saw him in. But I don't know. Do you see him in any type of role like that, or do you just is that it?
I don't know. As I said earlier on, I've got no idea what type of midfielder Davies should be. Honestly, whether he's a number 10, whether he's a number 8, whether he's a number 6, whether he's just gets a free role, I don't know. But all this, it's sad, he's a local lad and all that. I think fans need to get over that. Do you know what I mean? Of course, we love it when a local lad comes through and makes it. But for every Scouse youngster who makes it through to the Everton or Liverpool first teams, there's 1,000 other ones who didn't make it, who you've never heard of. And is anyone feeling sorry for them? No, they're not. At the end of the day, and obviously we loved that memory of against City. That's to this day, that's one of my favourite goals I've ever been in a stadium to see. Honestly, it's in my top 3. But you can't build a career off the back of that. Neil Mellor for Liverpool, I remember this, scored an absolute belting goal against Arsenal to win them the game in the last minute in 2005, 6, somewhere around that. Did Neil Mellor get to stand around at Liverpool all his life and live off that? No, he didn't. At some point, you've just got to, if the club's serious about getting back to the top and achieving things, you've got to just be ruthless, and somebody's postcode shouldn't come into it. At the end of the day, as I said, it was the same with Cleverley. Cleverley wasn't Scouse. Cleverley was a good lad who everyone had time for and wanted to do well, but he wasn't good enough. He wasn't good enough. Club just moved him on, and nobody feels bad about it. So, no, for me, I don't see it with Davies, and I think come the summertime, I really hope that we're shopping him round.
Yeah, interesting. That's most. I think most fans would agree with you, and they pretty much ran out of patience with Tom Davies. He's been around long enough to prove himself, and he's kind of continuously being a point of debate. So yeah, that's our verdict on Tom Davies. Obviously, I personally do hope he can turn things around. I don't know how much time he's got to turn things around, but
I do as well. I don't, as I said, I'd never ever chase about the club like I'd like to do to somebody like a Sigurdsson or a Schneiderlin. I would never ever accuse him of not caring. I would never ever accuse him of just robbing a living and being a disgrace to the shirt. He's not. He's a really good lad, and he really tries his best. But at some points, just giving your best shouldn't just always be considered good enough. It'll be good enough for somebody. It shouldn't just be good enough for Everton. We've got to have players who are actually going to help us kick on. So, as I said, I'd love Davies to just prove me wrong and to become this great player, and develop. But I think as you said, he's had enough chances now, and we've not seen enough in return. So I think the club should be looking to move him on. And if he does get another, if he is kept around by Ancelotti, then I'll accept that. If Ancelotti thinks he can do something with him, then I'll carry on hoping things come right for him. But if he is moved on, I don't want to hear anybody complaining, saying that it's not fair, he deserved more time, he didn't get a chance, blah 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 blah. No, I think nobody's got any right to complain at all if Davies isn't at Everton in the future.
Yeah, I agree. To be honest, it's unfortunate, but it is the truth, and he has been around since making his Premier League debut in 2015-16, and we're now next season going to be going into 2020-21. So he's had enough time. It's a shame, but we'll see what happens for the remainder of the season. But at the moment, it's not looking great for definitely our perception of Tom Davies. But let us know what you think of yours in the comment section, obviously. Hope you enjoyed the video, of course, and please like and subscribe. And thanks a lot for watching, and join us next time on the Toffee, please.